You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any more finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Just remember, that's the number that comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, we are celebrating today. We celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. You know something? I guess in honor of our friend Todd Halterman, who will be with us shortly. I guess maybe not Todd, but up in his neck of the woods. National Farmers Day is today. National Farmers Day. Probably more farmers out there with him out there in, I don't know if he's in Washington or Idaho, but there's probably a lot more farmers there than there is in Orange County, California. Today's also National, I don't know if, Josh, we're going to have to be careful with this one because today's National Free Thought Day. This is California. This is woke town. I don't know if you can put free thought in. I'm just throwing that out there. So we're going to move right along and go to National Gumbo Day. My problem with gumbo is I like spices, but I'm not a big fan of spicy. So if it's too spicy, I'm wimpy, and give me a hamburger. I know you probably don't even remember that old. Who is that? Wimpy was Popeye. I think it was Popeye. Okay, so and today's also again, just because we have Todd Halterman. Now I think we must have booked it this way. So Todd Halterman is with us, and today is National Savings Day. So maybe we'll talk to Todd about saving a little bit. I don't think Todd brought his teddy bear to work today because that is also today. Today's National Bring Your Teddy Bear to Work. Curves Day will only get me in trouble. Emergency Nurses Day. We appreciate all of the nurses. Let's move along. So before I get myself in too much trouble, checking the markets this morning. Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 162 points. The S&P 500 is up 13. NASDAQ is up 39, and oil's down $2.31 a barrel. Pretty amazing watching what's going on with oil these days, especially, now we've got a war of words between the U.S. and Saudi Arabia. You got to love that one. Gasoline prices, though, here in Southern California, $6.30 a gallon. Josh is over there at $5.40, so he's 90 cents a gallon cheaper than we are here in California. Jody's at $4.57 and Lori's at $3.36 a gallon. $3.36. I think I might go there to gas up. Todd's got it made though because he can go right across the state line there, being that he's got this area. So Idaho is $4.43 and Washington is $5.40. I'm not even going to go there. Anything I say will get me in trouble. Well, let's move right along. Hey, you know something? I've had some friends checking in with us. And if you were listening to our broadcast yesterday, I think it was, we spoke with Sean and Kelly Malone, and they're realtors out in the Temecula area. And they didn't even bring any wine with them, but that's a whole different subject. But talking about the idea that there's a lot more NODs, notices of default, going on out there. Maybe it's because people have some financial troubles. We're going to talk with Todd Halterman about that today. But The other part that I want to get to, or I want to chat with you about, is do you have equity in your property? Before that equity is gone, how about reaching out to our team and seeing how you might be able to access some of that equity without disturbing that low interest rate mortgage that you're already in? Accessing your equity without disturbing that low interest rate mortgage you already have. So we're going to chat about that. Our team has some ideas. If you have questions about it, give a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or you can just reach out to us, send us an email, text message, smoke signal, any of the above. We answer all of those. But let's move right along in the Your Credit Matters segment today, being brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. We've been going through this whole series of building your credit and understanding credit. What is credit? Why is it important? What factors affect your credit score? How long does it take to build credit history? Building credit from the ground up. How to achieve a good credit score. The importance of monitoring your credit score. All of that in the next 2 minutes. Whether you're seeking a mortgage, taking out a loan, or renting a new apartment, you should know how essential it is to have a good credit score. For many people, building credit starts by making timely payments on a student loan or credit card. However, to qualify for a credit card or loan in the first place, you often need to have a good credit history. This creates a challenging chicken and the egg scenario in which you need credit to build credit. So how do you start building credit from the ground up or try to reestablish your credit? Well, first off, we need to know what is credit and why is it important. Before diving into how to start building credit, it's critical to understand what credit is and why it's important. Credit enables people to borrow money for goods or services that they promise to pay back at a later time. Creditors, those are the lenders, the merchants, or the service providers, issue credit to people based on the level of risk they pose as a borrower. This risk, and conversely a creditor's confidence, is often determined by your credit score and credit report. Credit report versus credit score. A credit report is a record of your history managing and repaying debt. It works as a kind of report card lenders and other companies view when deciding to do business with you. Included in your credit report is a historical record of how and when you pay your bills, how much debt you have, how long you have been managing credit accounts. Lenders and other companies may use your credit report to learn more about your previous borrowing experience, which helps them make decisions about granting you credit. Credit reports are also used to calculate your credit scores. There are 3 nationwide credit bureaus in the U.S., Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. A credit score is a 3-digit number based on information contained in your credit report that a lender uses to determine that, to help them determine if they'll grant you credit and at what terms. While there are several brands of credit scores, the most commonly used are FICO scores. FICO scores typically range from 300 to 850, where lower scores equate to a higher risk of not paying bills as agreed in the future. Your credit scores can fluctuate over time depending on the activity reported on your credit reports. What factors affect your credit? While the criteria for other scoring models vary, your FICO scores, not the FACO scores, Vantage scores, or credit scores, FICO scores are calculated based on 5 categories of information gathered entirely from your credit report. Each category represents a percentage of your FICO score. These categories include payment history, 35%, amounts owed, 30%, credit history length, 15%, credit mix, 10%, new credit, 10%. How long does it take to build credit history? Now that we have a better understanding of what credit is, it's important to start thinking about how to build credit history. In order to receive a valid FICO score, the credit report must have at least one account open for 6 months or more, at least one account that has been reported to the credit bureau within the past 6 months, no indication of deceased on the credit report. Please note, if you share an account with another person, this may affect you if the other account holder is reported deceased. Does that surprise you? The minimum scoring criteria may be satisfied by a single account or by multiple accounts on a credit file. So if you're approved for new credit that is actively used and reported to the credit bureau, you should meet the minimum scoring criteria. And there's no way I'm going to get all of this in 2 minutes, so I'm going to record this for you on a separate channel, and we'll have it available for you. But that is the Your Credit Matters segment today, brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. What are you doing about it? What a great broadcast lined up for you today. Todd Halterman is with us. Todd is a guru, and I don't say that lightly, but Todd is a guru in the world of finances, and we've talked with Todd many, many times about the idea of how do we get out of debt. So lots of times when you talk to financial advisors, all they want is how much money you got and where are we going to put it? Well, Todd goes the one step further, and not only does he help with those issues, those situations, but in a market like this, how do you protect yourself? What mistakes are investors making right now? What helps people retire earlier, especially in recessionary climates? And how much is enough? We're going to talk to Todd about all of that today. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numero 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. 1990, the Mortgage Minute today, being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The S&P 500 now, it's up just 6 points, not a big deal right there. We're looking at the 10-year Treasury, down 2 basis points. Again, not a big mover. Mortgage-backed securities are down 2 basis points. Again, not a real big issue right there. So nothing exciting in the markets this morning, but I'm going to tell you what's going on after I tell you that OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. 30-year conforming rates yesterday locked at 6.886. The 30-year jumbo is locked at 6.56. The USDA rural loans locked at 6.701. FHA 6.674. And the best loan on the market for those that earned it is the VA loan, 30 years, 6.562 is where they locked yesterday. Why is all of this happening? What is driving the markets? Well, it's probably has a little bit to do with, I can't say it too succinctly, but the Federal Reserve, they don't know which direction they want to go. So it's hard for the markets to follow what the Federal Reserve has to say. And I'll explain to you what I mean by that. Loretta Mester, Cleveland Fed president. So April 5th, 2021, she says, quote, "I am unconcerned with inflation running away from us," unquote. May 5th, 2021, quote, "I'm not worried about inflation getting out of control," unquote. May 6th, 2021, quote, The Fed needs inflation expectations and real inflation to rise," unquote. May 6th, I guess she likes talking a lot every day. "By the end of the year, I expect inflation to be between 3.5% and 4%, with a drop in 2022. I think that we're in 2022 right now, and I don't see it dropping." Maybe she had this a little bit wrong.
It is what it is.
But then yesterday, October 11th, 2022, depending on what day you're listening to us. Loretta Mester, quote, "We have not seen any progress on inflation, and so I think we need to bring interest rates up through this year and a little bit into next year," unquote. She went on to say, quote, "Monetary policy will need to become more restrictive in order to put inflation on a sustainable downward path," unquote. So what a difference a year makes. Yet, when was she not correct? Right? Obviously last year, because we can look forward and say everything she predicted last year was wrong. Do we believe that this year she's correct? Now, I am going to share with you that we did get the producer price index. I like that report because it's on the producer level, which means it's more of a leading indicator than the consumer side. The Fed likes the consumer side. I'm just throwing you out there my opinion. Producer price index measures wholesale inflation, rose 0.4% in September, 0.2 hotter than expected year over year. The PPI decreased from 8.7 to 8.5. And while it moderated, it was 0.1 higher than the 8.4% anticipated. Core rate, again, takes out food and energy, rose by 0.3%, in line with expectations. Year over year, core rate decreased from 7.3 to 7.2, slightly lower than expectations. Bottom line, didn't see any meaningful decline in producer inflation, and that can translate to a worse report than expected tomorrow for the consumer inflation. Producers have two choices: cut margins or pass those costs along. What do you think they will do? That's the question. And that's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva, they've got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. There he is, the aforementioned Todd Halterman. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ron Siegel.
So we got a lot going on in this world, Mr. Todd. We need to try and make some sense out of this for the listeners of Ron Siegel Radio. So I guess the first place for us to just jump right in is, what are the mistakes that investors are making right now?
Well, two things come to mind when it comes to financial planning when we have pressured markets like this and a government who seems to believe they need to do certain things to help our population, if you will. Number one is you can't buy things on sale if you don't have enough cash. And many Americans at this point in their financial plans put every dollar they can into their 401k, put every dollar in that 401k into some kind of fund or investment, run short on emergency reserves or cash that can be used to buy things on sale. And it's National Farm Day, so it should be said that many people know that farmers are land rich and cash poor, and that causes problems in your life, especially as you get older. So number one, keeping enough cash around to be able to take advantage of opportunities when they present themselves, and to give yourself a moat which goes around a castle to protect them, to provide potable water, to give them fire suppression. So moats are more than just defense. They're also used for offense. And that's how I look at cash for the American family.
So we need to, the biggest challenge, though, I see, Todd, is, we've been living at or above our means. So where are we going to get that cash from? Where do we get that? Where do we dig it out from?
That's the whole point. So in this juncture, we're telling people to look at weak assets that they own. Right now, it's no secret the bond market is going to continue to slide based on interest rate rises alone. And if you're just sitting there watching the bond market collapse and you're staying in your fixed income bonds, then at this point, it's your own fault. You don't try to catch a falling knife either. So one of the second biggest mistakes people make is they try to go for broke and dig out when they've lost a bunch of money, and they end up losing more. So not having enough cash in place is really difficult right now for a lot of Americans, but savings supposedly have never been higher, which those are dwindling. But in the investment world, Ron, everybody puts every dime they have into the market. They don't keep any in reserve. So we'd say fire weak employees. Well, if you have weak holdings in your portfolio, then obviously you fire them and create cash for yourself. If you have assets around that you're not using, liquidate them. If you have a good banker, that's what bankers do, is they create liquidity for you so that you can go out and deploy and live your life. I happen to know a good mortgage banker. His name's Ron Siegel. So there are several things people can do, but sitting and doing nothing is the worst thing that anybody could do, and being paralyzed with fear.
But so I agree with everything you've said there. My question though is, and we know it's obvious you're correct. The bond market has taken a huge hit, but how long do you think it's going to keep going down? And when do you think is the right time to get back in, or am I selling at the bottom so I can buy high and sell low?
Yeah, people are in panic mode right now because they've watched 20% of their equity growth go away. But I got to caution Americans, we get greedy. Now, 2019, the index was up almost 20%. In 2020, again, 20%. 2021, even post-pandemic, up 20%. So you don't have a marketplace grow by 60% in 3 years without some kind of economic correction or some kind of balancing act. So a lot of Americans have given back 2021 profits. If they're not careful, they're going to start giving back 2020. But it looks worse on the TV than it is on paper. But you got to create cash. That means, how do you get cash? And Ron, I'll let you speak to cash opportunities with mortgages and home equity, but home equity shouldn't be used just to invest capital out in the marketplace. It should be used to create a stability, a stable force for people's families, a moat so they can survive if they have a layoff. But right now, people are panicked about the markets, and they're paralyzed with fear, and they shouldn't be. This is an opportunity for investors to make money.
So here's the issue that I want to share with everybody, because it's a big time issue. Is what is fear? So fear really is, it's a challenge with the unknown. And the problem that I see in most instances, and Todd, I don't know if you'll agree with me here or not, I think you might, is when we go this road alone, all we know is what we know. And if we've not been in the industry and investing over many, many years or decades, and done that on a regular basis and seen market cycles, we may not understand them. And it's kind of like when you have a real problem. What do you want when you have a problem? A lot of times what you want when you have a real problem is a friend. And if you go to a friend who happens to be in a mechanic, an auto mechanic, probably great with your car, may or may not be so great with your finances.
Right.
So what you want to find is a friend, Todd Halterman, who understands this, has seen it, and might be able to educate you enough to get rid of some of that fear. Right? I mean, because if I talk to Todd and he says, "Hey, Ron, let's readjust, and maybe while we're going through this for the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, whatever it is," because I don't know about you, Todd. I don't have a crystal ball, so I don't know how long it's going to be. Maybe I want to minimize my retirement contribution so I can actually live today. And I don't know if that's right or wrong, but I think an analysis of someone like yourself makes sense. Am I on base there at all?
Oh, absolutely. And right now, when economic times are tight, people start worrying about debt. And debt is the number one reason people don't retire early or retire successfully. So earlier you talked about debt management. It is around, but I'm going to tell you right now, Ron, I think the issues that we're seeing right now are going to last for another 8 to 12 months pretty easily. I don't think you'll see an economic turnaround until towards the end of next year. I believe the markets have a good chance of sliding. A lot of the estimations I've seen is the S&P 500 could be around 3,300 at the end of this year. So we could see another 8 to 10% drop in the marketplace just based on math right now.
What do you think? And again, I know it's just a supposition, and I should say this because I didn't before. Todd's not here giving any kind of financial advice. He's giving us some education based on his history in the markets and his extensive studies of the markets. So is there any kind of thought in the marketplace right now about what the midterm elections, what kind of an effect that might have on the markets? I know that the markets generally like a gridlock in Washington.
Yeah. Historically, the markets have favored growth during Democratic presidencies and a little bit more growth than the conservative presidential cabinets. But midterm elections cause a lot of disruption during the market year. And once the election's done and everybody knows what the changes look like, the markets usually you'll see them stabilize. But the markets just don't like change. If there's gridlock between the House and the Senate, yeah, well, financially, it just allows corporations to run on their track right now, and they're not worried about change. But between Russia and Ukraine and China and North Korea and a lot of the global macroeconomics that are surrounding those issues, there's just a lot of uncertainty in trade, in supplies, in commerce in general, in currency. So you're seeing a lot of irrational behavior. So right now, people need to look at opportunity to grow and collect cash and be able to deploy it in areas that have strength. I had a gentleman yesterday. He was paralyzed with fear. He wanted to close out some of his stocks. And you know what we did, Ron? We helped him put his money into an index fund that if the market goes down 10%, he'll actually make 10%. So there are tools out there for Americans to use. They can make money when the market's down. You can have protection. You don't have to take yourself out of the marketplace, but you need to have a plan.
That's perfect information. I think that's great to hear, especially when you have that plan that's going to protect you on that downside. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, more with Todd Halterman. What are experts saying about the fall housing market? I think that's the wrong report that we did that one yesterday, so I'm going to get rid of that off of my board here. 4 things that help determine your mortgage rate. And we've got On the Town brought to you by Visit Anaheim, all that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Is your budget getting blown up with high prices of gas and increased costs for other household needs? This is Ron Siegel, host of the daily Home and Finance radio program. Did you know if you have a low interest rate mortgage along with auto debt, credit card debt, or student loans, your family could potentially save $500 or more per month by restructuring these debts? If you'd like a free Borrow Smart analysis with our team, let's book an appointment to see how we might be able to relieve some stress. Schedule an appointment at rsrbsa.com. That's rsrbsa.com for your free Borrow Smart analysis. rsrbsa.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com. rsrhomescout.com. 4 things that help determine your mortgage rate. If you're looking to buy a home, you probably want to secure the lowest interest rate possible for your home loan. Over the last couple of years, that was easier to do as the housing market saw record low mortgage rates. But this year, rates have risen dramatically. If you're looking for ways to combat today's higher rates and lock in the lowest one you can, here are a few factors to focus on. Since approval opportunities can vary, connect with a trusted lender for customized advice. Your credit score. Credit scores can play a big role in your mortgage rate. Freddie Mac explains, quote, when you build and maintain strong credit, mortgage lenders have greater confidence when qualifying you for a mortgage because they see that you've paid back your loans as agreed and used your credit wisely. Strong credit also means your lender is more apt to approve you for a mortgage that has more favorable terms and a lower interest rate, unquote. That's why it's important to maintain a good credit score. If you want to focus on improving your score, your trusted advisor can give you expert advice. How about a free credit, easy for me to say, a free credit audit? It doesn't cost you anything, so you can afford it, a free credit audit. You do need to pay $1 to get a specific credit report, but the free credit audit, creditsanitizer.com, creditsanitizer.com. Your loan type, there are many types of loans, each offering different terms for qualified borrowers. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, CFPB, says, quote, there are several broad categories of mortgage loans, such as conventional, FHA, USDA, no down payment in the rural areas, and VA loans. Lenders decide which products to offer, and loan types have different eligibility requirements. Rates can be significantly different depending upon what loan type you choose. When working with your real estate advisor, make sure you find out what's available in your area and which types of loans you may qualify for. Your loan team. Another factor to consider is the term of your loan. Just like with location and loan types, you have options. Freddie Mac says, quote, when choosing the right home loan for you, it's important to consider the loan term, which is the length of time it will take you to repay your loan before you fully own your home. Your loan term will affect your interest rate, monthly payment, and the total amount of interest you'll pay over the life of your loan, unquote. Depending upon your situation, the length of your loan can also change your mortgage rate. Your down payment, if you're a current homeowner looking to sell and make a move, you can use the home equity you've built over time toward the down payment on your next home. The CFPB explains, quote, in general, a larger down payment means a lower interest rate because lenders see a lower level of risk when you have more at stake in the property. So if you can comfortably put 20% down or more, do it. You'll usually get a lower interest rate, unquote. To learn more, give us a call, 800-306-1990. It's amazing how many people I see put the wrong amount down payment. 22% down is never a good idea. 27% down is never a good idea. 32 or 33% down, never a good idea. So if you say, I want to put $100,000 down on a $800,000 loan, there is better ways to use that money to make you more money. Bottom line, there are just a few factors that can help determine your mortgage rate if you're buying a home. Best thing you can do is have a team of professionals on your side. Give us a call again, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And as always, I suggest if you have any friends, family, or coworkers looking to buy, sell, or borrow on real estate, can I count on you to introduce us? That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. Continue our conversation this morning. Todd Halterman is with us, not giving any financial advice today, educating us. If you want financial advice, you're more than welcome to visit Todd, toddhalterman.com, toddhalterman.com. That's how he supports his family, but he does a great job of supporting your family if you talk to him. Just throw that out there. So, Todd, let's talk about this. Are people in a recessionary environment, like we're either in a recession, heading to a recession, depending upon what you want to call it. I don't want to get into squibbling over that. But am I more worried, or should I spend more time focused on what I need today, or should I keep on the same path of saying, you know something, I'm going to put money in my 401k and retirement plan, and even if I don't make it there, I'll have money there?
Sure. Well, I think a lot of people are just saving money for the future and hoping that they're going to have enough. Those that have taken a minute to evaluate what their numbers are and might be aren't as panicked right now. A lot of the people that I work with aren't blowing up my phone, aren't worried, because we manage risk in 3 different ways. But the American family needs to have cash available to them to live and to be stable and to be able to take advantage of opportunities when they're on sale. This market is going to continue to discount itself. So we need people like you, Ron, to help educate them on how to have a good plan to keep cash around or find cash that's available for them to do and live the way that they want. But to have a financial plan means that you have clarity on your numbers. And if you have clarity on your numbers, Ron, you're not as panicked when markets cycle like this.
So here's the big issue, and I'm going to suggest this. I know that Todd will not say this same thing because he's got regulators, and I don't because I'm not licensed. So you've got a bunch of equity that's been built up in your house for the last couple of years. I don't know whether the equity is going to go away or drop or what's going on with real estate values. I've heard some people say we're going to see some drops in values. You heard our conversations yesterday. But liberate that equity. Take the money out of your property. Give us a call. We can help you with these things too. Home equity line of credit, a new mortgage, whatever it might be. But don't let that equity. In 2010, 2009, people were using their equity as an ATM. Today, they're building up boatloads of equity, and their house is holding that, and it becomes high risk because if the value of your house drops, you can't get it. If you take it out right now, the market can't get it. Now, I'm not saying invest it in the stock market. I'm not saying you shouldn't invest it in the stock market. I know that some of the regulators don't want you to borrow money to invest in the stock market. But there are certain places that are very safe and secure. I mean, did you hear Todd in the last segment talking about something that 10%, if it drops 10%, you make 10%? Now, again, I'm not saying to borrow money for that, but you may have other money that you're using for other things. This money might be what you use for your safety net. I'm just throwing that out there for you. Asset allocations, Todd, do we need to be dealing with that now? I mean, do we change that now? Because like in the last segment, you made a comment that, the bond market stinks, I guess is the best way of putting it. It's been dropped. That's my technical term. That's not Todd's. But, if you have a 60-40 allocation, do I want to still have 40% of my holdings in bonds?
Well, we've been shifting for the last year advice on fixed income and using replacement assets to provide income for people and stability. There are fixed notes paying 5% and 6% out there today. There are preferred stocks that don't change value that are paying 5 to 7%. There are real estate holdings that are liquid and able to be sold in a year that are making 10% plus or more right now for investors. So there are several options, Ron. It's just a lot of folks are paralyzed with fear and they're being told, just hold on, it will come back. And that is true. But at what cost do you have to write it down to write it back up? People need proactive help so they have some confidence that they can take action during a bad market. And let's be real. Strong, savvy investors make a lot of money when the markets are going down. And it's not from waiting for it to come back up.
That's a fascinating thought. I mean, when you think about how bad, and I have no idea what the stock price is today. So I'm going to throw that out there. Maybe Todd, maybe you know this, but Bank of America back in 2009, I think the stock price was right around like $6 a share. And there was word that Warren Buffett was buying billions of dollars worth of Bank of America stock going into the Great Recession. Now, I don't know where that stock is today, but I think it's probably higher than $6.
Oh, it's at 30.
Oh, okay. So it's 500%, 500 times his money or 5x his money.
Yeah,
because he bought.
I have somebody that we bought $5,000 of Starbucks for in 2009, and that turned into $160,000. And they built a swimming pool with part of it.
See, that's the idea of planning. Now, Todd, I wanted to ask you this question. 25 years ago, I know we only have a minute left in the segment, but 25 years ago or 22 years ago, when I was at Merrill Lynch, the rule of thumb was I could spend 4% of my retirement money every year and be able to survive my retirement. Is that still something close to that?
Well, actually, Vanguard put out a study a year and a half ago that because of the low interest rate environment, the quantitative easing and the cycles that we're looking at for inflation and obviously the interest rate game, they're recommending not to withdraw more than 2.8% per year. if you want your money to last longer than you do. Now, I will tell you, Ron, that we have never here had a problem helping people withdrawing at a 4% distribution rate. But I don't know how people invest if they're not around our office. So the professionals recommend about 2.8 to 3.1% at this time. And I think that will go back up as the markets swell again. But 4%, in my opinion, is a safe rate of distribution as long as you're being proactive with how you're managing your plan.
And that's a big thing. So you got to have a financial advisor working with you. And also, I've said this before. Again, I know I'm running over, but how do you expect to compete with somebody like Todd? And I'm not that I'm blowing Todd's whistle, because I like Todd. I know Todd. I know his style. But if you're out there servicing cars, servicing air conditioners, being an electrician, a plumber, a radio guy, a doctor, a nurse, and you have a few minutes a day to study the market, how could you compete with somebody that's doing this all day, every day? Just like somebody that's a stay-at-home mom, and I love them because my wife's one of them, right? A stay-at-home mom is not going to be competing with a doctor or a nurse who goes to medical school and has continuing ed on a regular basis. They know something about it because they're mom, but they're not the expert. They still need that extra guidance. Give a call to Todd Halterman, toddhalterman.com. We're going to continue more with Todd Halterman when we come back. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. On the Town, brought to you by Visit Anaheim. We've got that coming up as well. You can reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. On the Town, brought to you by our friends at Visit Anaheim. I love this segment, On the Town, because it gives me things to do for the next week, and I don't have to go and search them out because our friends at Visit Anaheim, they're on top of all of it. We get a major event of the week. We get a romantic event of the weekend. We get a family event of the week. The major event, Golden Years Vintage Market. The Golden Years Vintage Market is taking place at the Anaheim Packing District's Farmers Park. Everyone is invited to come and shop from vendors featuring some of the best finds in vintage clothing, vinyl records, and accessories. This free event is happening on Saturday, October 22nd from 11 a.m. until 5 p.m. Enjoy your Saturday at Farmers Park with music, shopping, and fun. The romantic event of the week, Succulent Pumpkin Workshop. Treat you and your boo to a fun and festive fall night in Anaheim. Soulful Succulents is hosting a workshop at Azul's Coffee Company on Friday, October 21st, 6:30 to 7:45 p.m. Create beautiful succulent pumpkins while eating churros and sipping on something sweet at this exciting event. Tickets are available for purchase online, and prices range from $35 to $55, depending on the style of succulent pumpkin you choose to make. And the family event of the week, Not Spooky Farm. Enjoy the holiday season at Not Spooky Farm, a family-friendly fall time celebration. Little ghouls can trick or treat around the town of Calico's shops and buildings to collect sweet treats from the friendly townsfolk, plus enjoy even more kids' Halloween activities. Families can join in on the fun as the park is transformed with themed decor and spooky surprises. This event recurs during the day, Thursdays through Sunday until October 31st. You can purchase tickets online for the entire family. Love those events. Brought to you by our friends over there at Visit Anaheim, on the town every week. Brought to you by our friends at Visit Anaheim. We're going to continue our conversation. Todd Halterman is with us. We are chatting a bit about your money. And, you know, the early segments, I get sometimes every once in a while, actually I should say every day, we get new people come on the program during the broadcast. And I want to share some of the information because, you know, if you missed our opening segments, you missed a lot. Todd Halterman shared some really, really key information about investors and mistakes they're making right now. Can you reshare that with us, Todd?
Well, investors just don't have enough cash laying around to take advantage of opportunities when stocks like Microsoft are down 15, 20%, Amazon's down 25%, Disney went down 40% based on cultural mistakes and moves in the populace. There are some major corporations who dominate their industries and have huge piles of cash that investors could make a ton of money on over the next 5 years, but they have to pass it up because they don't have much in reserves and they've invested all of their money in their retirement and their investment account in things already, and they're paralyzed with fear and they're not creating cash opportunities for themselves.
Let me ask you this, and it just dawned on me, Todd, because while we're sitting here, every once in a while, a stray thought comes into my head, and if I don't get it out, you know, I'm in trouble. Not again, Todd's not giving any financial advice. That's what he does for a living. We're just trying to educate and give you questions to ask your financial advisor. If you don't have one, toddhalterman.com. And I don't get paid to say that. But, you know, right now the market's down dramatically. Is this a time when people might be talking to their financial advisor and their tax advisor about the potential of maybe doing a rollover into a Roth?
It's a great time to be doing a Roth conversion with shares down like this because you convert it and watch it bounce back and grow back tax-free. That's a great point, Ron. It's also a great time for us to look at what holdings have you lost money in this year that we can sell before the end of the year and maybe get some short-term losses to help reduce your income and income tax at the end of the year. Or what holdings don't look to have the expansion potential that other organizations might have out there. People like Airbnb that looks to dominate the hotel industry coming through this recessionary time. I mean, there are just opportunities, Ron, but people like you have to help consumers understand how to keep enough cash around to have that opportunity. And with converting to Roth, it's a great time, Ron. It's a great time to do that if somebody has the ability to pay the tax from doing it.
So let me ask this question then. You know, in earlier in the broadcast, you mentioned the idea of this fund or program that has the downside protection.
Yes.
Can that be used inside of a qualified account?
Yeah, and actually was designed for IRAs and retirement accounts. When it was created, it really is just an opportunity for investors to have protection of principal on the downside. And if it goes down 10% or less, the index folio that we have to work with allows people to make whatever that's down. If it's down 8%, your principal's protected and you get 8%. So investors aren't without hope right now. Investors are just without tools, training, and having a financial plan to understand how to pursue opportunities in chaos, not be paralyzed with fear and just being told to just hang on, it's going to come back.
You know, that's amazing because, you know, I track and our team tracks a lot of different media so that we know what's going on in the marketplace so we can bring the best broadcast possible. And other than on Ron Siegel Radio, I'm not hearing anybody at all talking about that. I even heard the guy from Washington that tells us he's the world's greatest investor, a billionaire, and I'm not going to even give him free publicity. But, you know, I was listening to an interview with him yesterday, and they weren't talking about anything like this, Todd.
No, they're not. But honestly, that requires work. And I hate to say it, but many of our peers have been taught that asset allocation will eliminate and reduce downside risk. But I look at people's portfolios and I got to tell you, it's not. The compression created by the Fed's policies with interest rates and inflation and the fixed income market is not giving the balance to the equity market that it used to. So right now is the best time to be creative and to find solutions to help your family over the next 3 years while the government's figuring this deficit spending out.
Yeah, we hope that they'll figure it out eventually. But the bottom line is, in that time frame, you need to sustain, because we've talked about this before. If your portfolio drops 25%, you need more than 25% to get back to even again. So
yeah. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if in your IRA you were able to own 200 fast food restaurants? Wouldn't that be cool to own the #1 restaurant during the pandemic? Wouldn't it be cool to have the income coming from those fast service restaurants? People don't understand. You can own real estate. You can own businesses. You can own instruments to protect your principal in your retirement accounts. You don't have to sit there and just do blindly what everybody's been doing the last 100 years and wait for it to come back.
Pretty amazing stuff. And again, we've talked a lot about different ideas here. Maybe, and again, I'm not the financial advisor. I'm just throwing things out for you to consider and then ask your financial advisor or Todd Halterman. Maybe you want to reduce the amount of money right now for the next couple of years going into your 401k so you can survive. So you're not pulling money out of the stock market at the wrong time. Maybe you need to reallocate. Maybe you need to take a look at what investments you have. Maybe, especially right now, we're in the middle of October. This is the time that I've told you many, many times over the years. Now is the time to do your taxes. Now, I know that if you're did an extension, you have 3 more days, but I'm talking about your taxes when you're going to file for 2023. Now is the time. You've got to talk to your tax advisor. Wait until next week because they're probably a little busy right now. But talk to your tax advisor. Talk to your financial advisor. What activities can you take to minimize 2022 taxes so you take those up before the end of the year, and then you're ready for that tax reporting time, which comes in April. Right now is tax planning. April is tax reporting. There are things that Todd's talked to us about over time that he can do after the new year. But there's a lot more tools that you can have right now, isn't there, Todd?
There is. In fact, yesterday I had a dentist that wanted to convert $100,000 of his IRA into Roth. And lo and behold, we were able to invest $50,000 of cash into a United States energy program to give him access to oil and gas markets, but it gave him a $46,000 ordinary income tax deduction on his tax return immediately. So he and his wife are only going to be paying tax on half of the IRA conversion that we just did for them. So Americans need to wake up that there are opportunities in chaos, and this is the time to be planning for tax investments and being proactive.
Great information as always. Thanks, Todd. I appreciate you coming on and sharing that with us. And don't forget where we started today, talking about the idea of if you need to liquidate or liberate some equity from your real estate and you do not want to disturb your low interest rate mortgage, give us a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh, who's engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.
Over the limit, I'd like to call him something. I think I'll just call it